Good morning.
Good morning.
We haven't even poured the concrete yet and we're already making changes. I've been sitting back scratching my head going, at some point we're most likely going to put a lift in here. I don't know what brand lift we're going to be doing, but I'm thinking at some point we're going to want a lift in here because there's always plenty of vehicles to work on a farm, whether it's vehicles, tractors, equipment, trailers. And when I was sitting down looking at different lifts, they're all different. So most of them need 4 inches of concrete, but every place where their foot goes or their pad goes is different, and their pads are all different sizes with different bolt patterns. So I've been scratching my head thinking, how are we going to do this? The biggest problem for us is the PEX heat. If we don't have this laid out in somewhat of a fashion, and later on we go to put a lift in, we could screw through or drill through our PEX and then be no bueno. It would be no good to have that happen. So we're gonna dig out footings. We're gonna go 4 feet off this wall, and from the best measurements I can come up with, we're gonna go 14 feet in, and then we're gonna space them from edge to edge. I think it's 145 inches. That's not gonna fit every lift, but it should fit most of the ones that I found. That's the hard part. And then we're going to go with a 3 foot by 3 foot pad. So I have to move, or I already came out here and moved the PEX around, and I don't want to have to cut it and repatch it. I just kind of moved it out of my way so we can get a bigger footing base, so that way there'll be more concrete to screw into and we don't have to worry about ever hitting any PEX. And then Gina can have her lifts and she can start pumping iron and doing all the oil changes and all the fixing on the equipment that I break. So
right, so we don't want to not have the option. We might not put a lift in, probably will put a lift in. We've always talked about redoing an old car or truck, so we want to have that option.
All right, so most lifts say you need to be 3 feet off the wall. I've been a mechanic before and I don't want to have it too close to the wall, so we're going to go 4 feet, so that way if you got to work on, say, both sides of your vehicle, you have room to get by. We're going to go with a little bit wider of the lift, hopefully, so that way it's going to be a 2-post lift. When you drive in, you have more room to open your doors, because I found from my experience, you go the narrower lift, when you open your door, you can only open it at this much, and you kind of got to squeeze out, and it's not always fun. So my thoughts are, we'll try to go with the wider lift. So I believe that's 145 inches from outside to outside. So I marked our 14 feet mark, which will be the center of the posts. We want to be 4 feet over, so I'm going to go here. And then we're going to go with a 3 foot pad. So that'll be here. And then we're going to want to center it. So we're going to want to go 18 inches. So here. And then 36. And I feel like that should give us more than enough room. We're going to take out the foam and I'll dig out some of the stone a little bit deeper. And then we're going to reinforce it with a little bit more rebar. All the lift manufacturers are different, but I want to make sure we have enough concrete and enough reinforcement in here to meet any of the requirements of any lifts. And the good thing about making videos is I can go back and watch this video again where I'm trying to figure out where I put our footings. So I'm going to go right here. It might have been easier doing this in the beginning, but then at the same time we would have had holes we would have been working around, so it would have been a little bit more difficult too. So it is what it is.
We're just glad that we thought of it now and not have it as an afterthought, and wish we did and then couldn't do something, because that would be not good. Because we have thought about putting a lift or having a lift the whole time. It just wasn't thinking about how to install it. Your oscillating tool probably would be the best.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. I was going to use a handsaw, but then I was thinking I'm just going to be sawing into rock and it's going to ruin the handsaw. So, but yes, an oscillating tool would work good.
So why do you want to take the foam out too?
I want the concrete deeper. So that's one of the things with doing a concrete pour with foam and PEX. It makes everything a little bit more difficult. I want to cut the foam out because I want to go a little bit deeper. And if I don't cut the foam out, say we even did this beforehand, it would be hard with foam under it to make these spots deeper and not cutting out the foam. Because if you put the foam there, you'd kind of have an air pocket. When the concrete poured, it would kind of go like this, it would belly. So that's why I want to cut it out, dig it out, and I'll put a little bit more rebar in. So these spots, we have more of a footing, kind of like what I did on the outside edge. We have 45 inches this way by 5 feet this way without any PEX. So we have a lot of room over here for screwing, and then we'll just have a really good thick footing for the lift. So the couple of different lift options I saw, one said space it, the post 135 inches apart, one said 145, and then one was like 168 inches I think apart. So we're gonna make this for 145 because that's wide enough. The 135 is like for a car, and then a 145 would be for like a pickup truck. Anything wider than that, I would think would be for a big vehicle. So let's get our rough layout. All right, so we got 145. And then we're gonna go 14 feet off the front. Some of the lifts say you only need 12 feet, but I'd rather go with a little bit wider or longer. So that way if we're working on a pickup truck, we have more room behind it, and we can definitely shut the door when we're working on it. So 14 feet would be right here. It was hard to find the specs for the pads. A lot of the ones I saw, they were measuring like 18 to 20 inches width. So I just said, you know what, I'm gonna go 3 feet by 3 feet. So that way we have more than enough room. And if we gotta move it one way or another, we still have plenty of room. All right.
So now 2 more times?
No, that's it.
Oh, that's it.
There's just 2 posts.
Oh. Sheesh, the whole time I thought we were going to be doing 4 of those. So I guess we're done with that.
So that's 145. All right, luckily we hadn't started digging yet. The only thing we did is cut out the foam. I got my measurements wrong-ish. So we need to be 145 on the outside edge and then go in 3 feet. I went 145 in this way. So I'll patch this piece up, put this PEX back, and then this piece of PEX will pull back and then cut out that. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'll be right back.
Hey, figure it out now.
That's right.
It's better to do it now. And then hopefully everything will be right. And then we can get this done and everything will go smooth. Looks like you never took it apart.
Right, you never know. It's one of the nice things about PEX and the crete heat. Get this straightened out, then I'll move that over some and we'll get that cut out and we'll be good to go. All right, if the heat in our floor is a little wonky, that's on me, but it's my fault, it's my shop, so that's all right. But we did do stuff like this in the harvest house while we were building it and laying it out. We had to do some wonky stuff to get around pipes and to get around walls, and that heat's perfect, so I know this is gonna heat just as good. It just looks a little funny. So now we can cut out this spot and be back to where we were about 45 minutes ago.
Stop. Are you sure that's the right spot?
Yes.
100%.
100%.
All right.
We gotta be 145 from outside to outside, which it should be right there, right?
Well, you're on the rebar. Do you want me to put it on this?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're 145 from outside to outside. And then we're gonna go 3 feet in and then 3 feet that way.
I think it's wrong.
Don't say that. That's the good and the bad about doing everything yourself. If it's right, it's your fault. If it's wrong, it's your fault. So let's double check the layout of the doors and then we can start digging some holes.
In the inside.
Yeah, hold this on the inside edge. So I gotta come over to you first. Remark it all. 4 feet. And then 10 feet off of the 4 feet would be 14 feet. That's gonna put us
Right in the sand pile.
here. So we might want to shift that wall a foot this way. Let's go in there and get a measurement. Okay. So 14 foot would put us here. And then I would go 102. So that's 102. So that would be the drive-on center part of the lift. So now we want to center our door to work with that. So 102 is 8.5 feet. So 8.5 feet minus 10 would be, you'd have 1.5 feet, you'd have 18 inches, so you'd have 9 inches on each side.
Of the door?
Of the door.
wall?
So 4 feet, I'm just gonna do light marks just in case we change it. So 12 feet is right here. So from there to there will be the next garage door you can let go. And then we have to figure out where we want to put our man door. We can do that after. And we have, from there to there, we have 9 feet left over. Now that we have all the layout figured out and we're happy with it, we're gonna go dig these down a little bit deeper and we will have a nice footing area for our lift. All right, I like that part for the hole. All right, we're gonna cut 6 pieces of rebar for now. Make sure it works the way it's working in my head, because just because I see something in my head doesn't mean it's always gonna work right. So. So we're gonna go a little bit lower. Yes, I'm going overboard, but we've already come this far. We might as well go all the way. All right, now I need to put my grade stake back in, and that falls right in one of these pads. So we're gonna come 13 feet. All right, I like that right there. We are ready for pour day. All right, so we are ready for concrete, meaning us in the slab. Now we need to make sure the homestead and the animals are ready. We moved Azalea over to a fresh spot this morning. That's big enough for a day or two, but we're gonna be having the concrete trucks coming tomorrow and a bunch of commotion going on. So I wanna pick up the old fence and make an area for her to go tomorrow that's closer to the barn, so that way they'll feel more secure with all the commotion that's going to be going on. We're going to get this picked up and then get the homestead animals all ready for our big pour tomorrow, because we're going to be busy over there. So we want to make sure that we don't have any issues with the animals while we're tied up.
Speaking of tied up, you look a little like you're a little tied up.
Right, got to get it all untied. All right. All twisted up. So we try to move Azalea and Cookie every couple of days, and right now with our weather, we're having to time our moves with how much rain we're getting in the higher spots. Like right now she's on a high spot because we keep getting a ton of rain, so she's high and dry and everything else around is wet. And then where we're going to move her to is another dry spot, luckily. I think Azalea is enjoying that clover. So this area back here is one of the first areas we ran the cows when we first got them. And the clover and Timothy grass is growing up perfect. It's at the right height. Some of it's a little bit taller. They probably won't eat it, which is fine, so we can mow that down later, and that'll just be more nutrients for the soil. But I want to get this area kind of like a triangle from this fence post to the goats fence post over there, and get the cows in here. They'll eat down this tall grass, and then I can put the meat birds on it after they're gone, and then they'll refertilize it. So we're just getting as much feed out of all of our grass as we can, and then we're going to be fertilizing it with as much manure as we can. We'll have cow manure, chicken manure, and all the stuff, and everything's just going to grow awesome. So we're going to take down some of the old fence that we've had up because it needs to come down and shift. Then I can mow around it. So we're going to get that done, and then this area will be ready. All right, so we want to take the poultry netting that we have up against the barns and the other goat fence, run it at an angle. I don't think it'll be long enough, but we'll space that out with some 2 strands of electrical fence, and we want to let them go in between the 2 sheds and eat that down instead of having to mow it. So that's why I mowed a strip here, is for the poultry netting, because I don't want to move the poultry netting back afterwards and let the meat birds run back in there. So a lot of moving around today, but it'll be worth it in the long run. It's so funny how patchy these pastures are. There's some really nice fertile areas, it must be, with some nice clover and timothy growing, and there's some stuff that's just very blah, and there's another patch that's really good. So I'm hoping the chickens moving them around is really going to help it out this year. But this is amazing. She's going to love this tomorrow.
I can't believe how high it got.
It's already knee-high on you.
Knee-high with 4th of July.
It got really grown up in the poultry netting too. There we go. It's so tall.
Me?
Yep. I think zip ties are the new duct tape. Perfect. All right, we're ready for cows. We just gotta wait for the sun to go down now. I wanna go around now and mow everywhere the chickens have fertilized and eaten. The grass is starting to grow up pretty good already, but I wanna cut it and cut all the stuff they didn't eat so it's all the same height. Get more biomass on the ground to help everything grow better, and then we'll see what it looks like. All right, let's get this mowed. Well, it's not perfect pasture, but it's so much better than it was last year and a lot better than it was at the beginning of this year. So I can't wait to see what it looks like in like another month or two once all that chicken manure gets to get into the ground. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and then what it looks like next year. It's such a progress. So that's where Cookie and Azalea just were. We moved them off that this morning. I like to try to mow it behind them as soon as possible so that way it can get growing up as soon as possible. Before being down there, they were right here. Before right here, they were right there. And you can already see how much taller that is versus this and then that. And then before that, we had them in a pasture over here and then up there, then over there. And the plan was to move them down this way, but it was too wet over here. So if it doesn't rain, which I don't know if that'll not happen, I can put them back over here soon. If not, I'll have to mow that and get that growing back to fresher grass for them. But this area is perfectly lush and ready for them. And then we can put them back there and over there and then just keep rotating them. And then it'll be nice to see how good all these different pasture areas look. So it is exciting, it's a progress. It takes time for all of this to work and it takes years. You can see the progress throughout the growing season, but it takes years to really see a big difference. But so far, I am happy. It's looking really good. You can see over there where the chickens were. I don't know if you can see the different green spots. The deeper green is where the chickens were. The yellow patches are where the chickens haven't been yet. So the chickens make a big difference on nitrogen. The sun is setting. That is a beautiful sunset. Concrete trucks are gonna be here in the morning. I can't wait. So we are ready for it. So this is where we're gonna end the video and we'll pick up the new one with the concrete pour tomorrow. Thanks for coming along on our homesteading journey. You guys are a huge blessing to us in our homestead. I can't get over that sunset. So thanks for coming along and we'll see you right back here in the next video. Bye. Would you just look at that? So beautiful. See you next time.